our next guest. He couldn't live up to his father's name as a football player, so he turned to basketball. A role player on the 1991 Duke team, he provided great support to Christian Laettner. He was lucky enough to be the recipient of a brilliant alley-oop from Bobby Hurley against Kansas en route to a national title. You may remember him. He was the guy with the kid-and-play haircut. He went on to play in the NBA for 18 years. Now that's right, he hung on as a defensive stopper later in his career. Since we couldn't get Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, or Ala Abdul-Nabi, please welcome Grant Hill.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I love it. What's up, fellas? I feel it.
Turner Sports basketball analyst, Grant, on the call at the Final Four national title game for the 5th consecutive year.
Oh, man.
What bothered you the most about that introduction there?
I think it's all true.
We had Laettner on, that was yesterday or 2 days ago. I never know when he's serious, when he's joking. Like,
right.
he's cocky, he's humble. I don't know how you read him when you played at Duke with him.
Right. I think he's more humble now. But when we play, look, there's so much about Laettner that's been discussed. And, he was this, he was that. He was a great teammate. He really was. And he was just super, everything was a competition. Everything. Whose bag would come out first at the airport? Who could see a squirrel first on camera? I mean, everything was. He was just hyper competitive, and I don't feel like he's as competitive now.
But he said he told you first day, "I want you to dunk on me."
Yeah, no, he did. I saw that. It is true. He would, and he would try to contest and try to block it, and it was a little bit different, a little bit weird. Most people don't say try to dunk on me, but he was just competitive. He wanted to try to meet at the rim and see if he could block my dunk. And then I think after a while, I was dunking on him pretty easily and then talking a little trash to him. So that ended, after that point. But that was Christian. I mean, I'll say this, he got more excited for my great plays than anybody else. I think of that image from the tournament when R.J. Barrett had a reverse dunk and you see Zion jumping up and down. That was Christian. So he was complicated in a lot of ways, but he was a great teammate and a lot of fun to play with. And we did that documentary, or he did it. Everybody I hate Christian Laettner.
But did you have teammates?
But they sat with me for 2 hours.
Oh,
and I said great things about him, and they took like the 5 minutes that supported their thesis and ran with it. But
did you have players who you played with in the NBA that asked you about him?
Yeah, I think so. There were some players early on who asked about him, and he was just one of a kind.
Because he's an enigma.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he is. He is a little bit. But I think he's a good person at heart.
He had great things to say about you.
No. Look, I have great things to say. There's a story. We played at Canisius his senior year in Buffalo. He's everybody's All-American. We go to Buffalo. They give him the key to the city. We go out in the first half. We're blowing them out. He took one shot at halftime. And I remember Coach getting on him like, hey, this game is for you. You look like you don't want to play. And he's like, I want my hometown to see how good my teammates are. Oh, and so, there's that side of Laettner that doesn't get played up. But he was competitive. He put it all on his shoulders. He endured a lot of abuse on the road. But as a teammate, he really was a great teammate and fun to be around.
Would Bobby Hurley say the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, look, they had their moments. I mean, just like any, I'm sure like the Danettes, I'm sure you guys, get after it once in a while. Yeah,
a little bit.
But I mean, look, they played great together. And I think there was a lot more good than bad. But they had their moments. I mean, look, Christian, we had our moments. I mean, Christian.
But you didn't fight, did you?
All the time. We fought all the time.
Like throwing punches.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story. So my first ACC game, we're getting ready to play at Virginia. And we're in Christian's room. Christian's rooming with Tony Lang, who was my normal roommate, but we had different roommates on the road. And the beds were pushed apart, and we're fighting each other. Like, there's about 5 or 6 of us, and we're taking turns fighting each other.
Wait, what? How does it start?
I don't even know how it started, but the manager knocked on the door a couple times. We're making all this noise. We're wrestling. We're fighting. It was almost like, all right, you fight each other, and we'd go at it. And no punches are thrown, but we're wrestling and trying to like whatever. And so we go out the next day and we lose by like 25. Like we get blown. It's an afternoon game. So we bust back to Durham. No one says a word for 3 hours. We pull up to Cameron and coach says, I want everybody taped and ready in 15 minutes. And that was the worst practice that I've ever been a part of. And I broke my nose in that practice. And so I managed to stay away from Christian on the road from that moment on. But yeah, I mean, we were kids. We were juvenile. We did silly things and obviously things that in the social media age you can't do now. But we fought every day. Christian could actually fight. He was good with his hands. He used to box growing up. So we'd slap box. And, it was just, I mean, we were kids. We had fun and, and so, but he was, he could, what is it? Talk it like you walk it, walk it like you talk it. Yeah, he could back it up. Yeah, he could back it up a little bit.
Walk the walk, talk the talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, he certainly talk. That's for sure.
Yes.
Grant Hill's with us, Turner sports basketball analyst, and of course on the call for the Final Four national title game. Tuesday's poll question was most talented Duke player of all time, Paulie?
Yes.
Okay. Right. The most talented Duke player of all time. Is this just a way for the media to get Zion's name into whatever their show is? Because you're the most talented player that I think ever played at Duke.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Christian said that as well.
Oh, okay.
Do you think you're more talented than Zion?
I mean, it's hard to make this debate. I mean, really, when you start comparing different eras, because what Zion has done, what Marvin Bagley did, what Kyrie did as freshmen, we didn't do that back then. As great as Christian was his junior and senior year, his first year, he played with Danny Ferry. Danny Ferry was College Player of the Year. Christian was in a complimentary role, much like I was in a complimentary role, according to your intro. And so that's what happened. Freshmen waited their turn. And so to think that this kid can come out and play at this level as a freshman, National Player of the Year, all this hype, all this attention on him as an 18-year-old, like we never went through any of that. I was shielded by Laettner. Laettner was shielded by Ferry. Ferry was shielded by Johnny Dawkins. So it was a different time.
That's interesting.
It's a real different time. So in saying that, I mean...
Because I would look at this, and this is the argument I would make. Let me see Zion as a finished product at Duke, or at least have a couple more years, because you were a finished product at Duke. Right. Christian was a finished product at Duke. Johnny played longer. Battier played longer. Right. So we saw... You guys became men. Right. Zion's 18.
Right.
If Zion's 21 or 22, what kind of player is he while he's still playing in college?
I mean, he may be considered not only maybe the greatest Duke player, but could possibly be the greatest, of all time. I mean, you never know. I think his potential, his athleticism, his explosiveness.
Have you been around him?
Yeah. No, I hadn't been around him much this year, but with the tournament run, we were with him. And, the thing that was impressive was, like, with all that's going on and all the exposure, it was almost like he's oblivious to that. Like, he and RJ and those guys, they're kids.
But I like Zion. He celebrates his teammates. RJ is not as celebratory. I think Zion loves playing basketball. I think RJ loves shooting, loves scoring.
No, I mean, I think we all celebrate each other in different ways. I think Zion is more expressive. He's definitely comes across as more the emotional, more of the vocal guy. I think RJ is a little bit more cerebral in terms of his personality. But like one story I heard with the people at Duke, that with all the exposure he was getting, he went to the SID and said, look, it's too much about me. It's got to be about the team.
Yeah.
And so there's just like, he's genuine. He's pure. He's a great teammate. And, I think he has obviously a great future in front of him. Not because of his talent, but because of his work ethic and the right mentality.
I don't know how many guys are on this list who have guarded Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant.
Right.
So you're on that list, whether you want to be on that list or not. Because you didn't normally guard Jordan.
Oh, I thought that was a Carolina shirt. I'm sorry.
No. No, we wouldn't do that to you.
I don't play with fire.
We wouldn't do that to you. Okay, but if you said, and you would be one of the ultimate people to ask, like the best offensive player you faced.
Right.
Who would that be? Like the toughest to guard.
You got to go with Jordan. I didn't guard Jordan a lot, but when I did, it was definitely Jordan.
But see, Kobe wants to.
No, no. So I was going to say,
right?
So Kobe was tough because I guarded Kobe a lot, and I was sort of like on the Suns, like that was my role to guard Kobe, and so that was Kobe's relentless, and every time down the court he's trying to score on you, and he was the one guy that I felt like really didn't have a weakness. He could go right, go left, over either shoulder in the post, could hit crazy shots, contested from three-pointer. Like you just had to sort of have amnesia sometimes. You had to just get over the fact that he was going to hit tough shots. But he was the ultimate challenge, no doubt. Not to take anything away from LeBron. I didn't guard Jordan as much, but Kobe was that. Plus, I had one ankle. I'm like, I got a bad ankle. I'm 37 years old. And they're putting me on Kobe Bryant. Like, that was unfair. You know what I'm saying? It's bad.
Did Kobe feel sorry for you?
No, he didn't feel sorry. I mean, I think there was a respect there, but he was relentless. And
Laettner said, and you watched the interview with Laettner,
right,
that you were pressured to come back after that first surgery on your ankle. That you should never have come back.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I remember
he wouldn't name names and tell the whole story.
I mean, we need a whole hour to go through that ordeal. But yeah, that whole situation, and I'm gonna tell it at some point and write a book about it. But it was horribly mismanaged. And I still remember we were in the playoffs against Miami, and it was and my ankle had been bothering me up until that point, and we were coming back from a practice, and Laettner was like, "Hey man, like you need to take it easy. Like you're not right." And, and so I ended up playing in that game too. And that's when, I didn't play anymore and I had to have surgery. But I should have.
But he thought you might lose your foot. I mean, like this was really serious. Like he was upset.
No, I had staph infection. I went septic. I almost, like it was the whole, and this was 3 years later after numerous surgeries. So, yeah, it was scary. And it was a point there where, you kind of thought I would possibly. So,
because people don't realize, and maybe they forget, you were on the road to you're not Michael Jordan.
Right.
But you're in the conversation of most complete player in the game. Rebounds, assists, scoring. Yeah. You play defense. There's no weakness. You're a great teammate. Right. And then this happened. Like you had 4 or 5 years.
Can I get that so my kids, my kids can hear it? Because literally my daughter, my 17-year-old, she'll, every once in a while she'll go on YouTube or something and she'll be like, "Dad, you actually were a pretty good player. You weren't always a scrub, and so
that's right.
Yeah,
She's probably seeing you.
They didn't see me. They saw me they saw Kobe torture me when I'm 38 years old. They didn't see that. So I appreciate that compliment.
Show her GQ magazine or show her the kid and play haircut.
Yeah, well, I won't show her that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it was a good time. I think for me, 4 years in college, coming into the league, having success, early on and getting better. I felt like my 6th year in Detroit, like I finally got into a point where the game was really, really easy.
You were putting up big numbers, man.
And then I had the injury ordeal. And
did you think you were as good as Jordan? At that time?
You know what? I think certain players, when you're at a certain level and top 5, 10, whatever, top 20 in the league, you feel like you're the best player on the court. And so when I stepped on the court, even against Jordan, I always felt like I was the better player. And when I came back, whether I was the better player or not, that's what I felt. But when I came back after 4 years, I mean, think of Derrick Rose and all the stuff he went. That was 2 years.
Yeah.
So I had 4 years of just, injuries, the body betraying you. You lose the confidence in your body, but you also lose the confidence in who you are. So instead of feeling like I'm that best player, now I'm just happy to be back. You want me to guard Kobe? All right, I'll go guard Kobe. And so I lost a little bit of that edge that's necessary, I think, to be at that level.
You were going to tell me a Jordan story when I first saw you today.
Right.
You want to let's end the segment with that.
So,
and by the way, I have a basketball court here.
Right.
I would like to recreate the Duke-Kentucky play, but I'm going to have you run the defense. Like, what did Kentucky do wrong on that play where Christian hits the shot? Okay.
Okay.
All right. And by the way, Laettner that wasn't tough what Laettner did.
Right.
You had the hard thing. You had to find the open man.
You can't.
It should be called the pass.
You can't make the shot without the pass.
Yeah, and like I mean, it wasn't a big deal. Laettner turns one way. I mean, he's got John Pelfrey guarding.
Laettner caught it, and then as he caught it, he took a dribble. I'm like, no. But no, that was an unbelievable moment and an unbelievable performance.
All right, we'll show that during the live look-in. All right, your Jordan story before we take a break.
So Jordan, I'm playing in Orlando. It's his last year. We play them in Orlando first, and I'm blocking his shot. Like, I'm locking him up. Like, I'm doing my thing again. I blocked his shot like 3 or 4 times. Like, I'm having my way against him defensively. Now, granted, he's 40 years old, but I'm feeling good about myself. So fast forward a month later, we're in D.C. My ankle, we go to a doctor in Baltimore, and basically he tells me I'm done. Like, my ankle's, once again, it's not healed, it's broken, I have to have surgery. But I wanted to play against Jordan one last time. And so we're playing the Wizards. It's a TNT game.
Wait,
Thursday
don't you
night.
want to go out where you dominate him and you're blocking his shots?
I'm just thinking, my ego. Like, I'm thinking, I had him the last game. I don't need this left ankle. Just give me some.
I only need
Motrin.
one ankle.
Give me a bunch of Motrin. I'm gonna go out here. And when I tell you, he torched me in that first quarter. Like, literally, he gave me 20 points in the first quarter on the same play. Like, he just ran the same play every time and did this, and I could not guard him. And so, literally, I checked out of the game at the end of the first quarter, and I didn't even go to the bed. I just walked back to the locker room. Like, I was done. Like, literally had surgery like a couple days later, but it was like I wanted to guard Jordan one last time. And you're right, I shouldn't have. I should have just let that go.
Did he know you were a wounded animal?
He probably did, because he went at me
and he didn't care.
The same move. Like, he didn't do anything different. It was the same move, and I had nothing for him.
Jordan probably had your x-rays in the locker room.
He probably did.
He probably knew exactly.
I'm surprised he didn't send somebody for me to come back out.
All right, during the live look-in, we'll recreate the Kentucky-Duke play where Grant makes the unbelievable pass and Laettner hits a decent jumper. Okay, so we're going to recreate one of the great passes in NCAA history and a decent shot by Laettner. This is Kentucky-Duke. And
so you're me with the better haircut.
Yes.
All right.
And a better angle.
Laettner.
McLovin is Laettner.
Oh, yeah. Okay, if you're not going to put somebody on the basketball.
Do you want to?
No, we're going to go 2 scenarios here.
No, you're Rick Pitino, so you draw up the defense.
Okay. I'm still going to double team Laettner in this situation. I'm not going to put somebody on Grant.
You're not?
No. But this guy right here has not missed a shot the whole game.
He's 10 for 10, 9 for 9 from the field, 10 for 10 from the line.
So he is not going to get the ball.
Okay.
So I'm going to put somebody in front of him.
Well,
and I'm going to put somebody behind him.
You had Pelfrey on him in front of him.
And I'm going to say, do not let him touch the ball, okay? Right. Whatever you do, he does not get it.
Okay.
What Pitino said in the timeout was, don't foul. Oh, there you go. We win.
There you go. Ball game.
Kentucky, what are you
on
doing?
To the Final Four. Yeah, we got it. Yep.
You don't get a championship.
We don't get a championship.
You don't get that championship. Yeah. McLovin, would you have hit it?
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.